Yeah, so I was talking about having an emotional abuse talk. It's kind of loud around here, which I do. You know, I think I do. I kind of, you know, I mean, some of the counseling that I got was useful, you know, when I was younger, sure. And I had a lot of it. And some of it was not, you know, some of it was bad. I think kind of particularly some of the people that I saw didn't really know what I was like, didn't really understand me at all, did not trust my judgment about all sorts of things, and particularly in the area of dating, that kind of thing, gave me really bad advice. I would walk in and say, this guy's a bad guy, and they'd be like, oh no, you know, he's just saying all this stuff to you because he really likes you. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure this is someone who just says these kinds of things to women when he's trying to get a score. And they'd be like, oh no, he really likes you. And then like 6 months later, you know, after he had, you know, totally dumped me, like within 2 weeks of my like being trust him, I'd be like sitting there like a mess and, you know, brokenhearted and all this stuff, and she'd be like, and like the person would be like, what's wrong with you? The therapist would be like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, and it never even really occurred to me until later to be like, no, what's wrong with you? You know, why didn't you trust my judgment in the first place? And it's not a question of blaming them now, you know, for the problems that I have now. But the point is, I do not have like a history of successful relationships. I've had like lots of friends, and I've had a lot of like good, like, you know, guy friendships, and some of those were like also had another side to them, but it was not like I have not had like successful like sexual relationships, like actual, you know, real like relationships with your boyfriend, that kind of thing. As an adult, I really haven't, and I don't, you know, I think I just kind of got somewhat stunted that way. You know, and I think a lot of it has to do with just kind of staying where I really shouldn't be, really staying where I shouldn't be. You know, at least now I can like recognize abuse for what it is, but I don't have like when you need to do something, when there's something that like is like a long-term project you have to work on. You know, like finding someone that you can be in a relationship with, or getting housing, or getting a job. Like it can be really hard to like do the things that you have to do, or not do things that you really shouldn't do, if you have no emotional belief that it's going to work out for you. You know, so like, for example, like even when I was really unhappy and a lot younger, you know, 18, 19, 20, that kind of thing, you know, I had just been in the hospital a few times, I was totally devastated by all that, really unhappy. But there were still things that I could do. I was functional, able to do them. Work, make friends, you know, do my schoolwork, that kind of thing. You know, it was probably not at the level that I could have been at if that stuff hadn't happened to me and I wasn't so miserable, but I could still do it, right? But like relationships, I never could. It was just really hard for me, you know. I think my parents' marriage was kind of traumatic for them, traumatic for everybody. You know, they had a lot of trauma in their lives, and so it wasn't something that felt really natural to me, you know, in terms of just kind of having the skills, whether you realize it or not. You know, and I think I just kind of went through, it was easy enough for me to make friends, really, you know, be friendly with people, get to know them, even get kind of close to them, kind of that kind of thing. But I had no concept of how to kind of create a relationship for myself or any of that stuff. And actually, over time, you know, you're so kind of just so beaten down by people telling you, you know, once you get into the mental health care system, there are people there who can support you. But I also think that like the way that society sees women, the way that it, especially at that time, it was like more than 20 years ago, the way that it sees them is that you should be equal in your relationship. Even if, you know, whatever people say, you know, the things that they do in practice don't really show that they believe it. So I was always kind of in a subordinate position, and that really feels bad for me. And I wasn't willing to do that, so I kind of didn't have anything. You know, I would have things that didn't work out, that sort of thing. Really was not interested in having a boyfriend just for the sake of having a boyfriend. Really wanted to be with someone that I really wanted to be with. You know, just didn't have, you know, but the people that I would really want to be with were doing better at other parts in their lives than I was, right? And were not interested in dating me, that kind of thing. I think that happened really kind of a lot. And just, you know, I mean, it's just, but anyway, plus going through all the stuff that I'm going through now, you know, I mean, it's probably not over. It's probably not over. You know, me just not really totally like dropping people who are really mean to me in that way. Probably not, because there's, you know, there's really are not any other options right now. Being homeless, I'm homeless. It's, you know, it's hard. You know, people, it's just, you know, I'm not like, it's not like I'm like meeting nice guys. You know, I'm not really, for the most part. I'm not, you know, and the ones that I meet are kind of, you know, having so many problems of their own. And it's just, you know, it's kind of, you know, these guys, they look nice online, right? They're nice pictures. I thought about saying something that was really not very nice about Robert Pattinson, being like, why is it that you think that you deserve to be something to me other than, you know, some pictures online? That kind of thing, which is, you know, it's kind of ironic, but not very nice, that kind of thing. But probably it's not totally over. Probably, you know, I'm probably gonna just like look him up online, you know, I guess I don't, what is there left to say? There's nothing left to say. You know, I don't want to be with him. I don't want to date someone like him. What he did was horrific, you know, and it's just, it's been like this, like, you know, horrible thing that I didn't even know for months. I don't really care that much about being rejected. That doesn't bother me, and I rejected him as much as he did me. That, you know, and as you get older, you learn to deal with rejection, you know, especially if you deal with things so that you know that you're as self-respecting as possible. It doesn't, you know, being rejected is like, okay, well, that's no big deal. Even getting older, it's like everyone has to do it, that kind of thing. I'm getting used to the idea that I'm probably never going to have kids, but at the same time, there's nobody else around. You know, there's nobody around. These people are instantly accessible to me by my phone in terms of like looking them up and that kind of thing. Is it good for me? No. Is it healthy? No. Does it, you know, cause me setbacks? Yes. But, you know, as I've said, I don't have a drug problem. I don't have an alcohol problem. There's all sorts of other problems that I don't have. You know, I mean, I'm so dehumanized. I'm so dehumanized. You know, and I think also there's a question of what's been happening to me too, which is what happens to women all the time. You know, if you are a female victim of sexual abuse, which I certainly am, the videos certainly are, everything else that has happened certainly is, all the harassment, all the stalking, all, you know, the way that I'm treated all the time. You are expected somehow to defend yourself by being like totally virginal all the time. You have to kind of prove that you don't deserve what's happening to you by like relinquishing sex altogether, like basically for the rest of your life until you meet some kind of like, you know, like I don't know, so it's until some guy rescues you from it, who like really loves you, you know, and it's not a question of like, okay, you continue to be someone who, you know, is like every other person on the planet, like has sexual feelings, has like, you know, the desire to be loved and that kind of thing, right? And then that's what the conglomerate has been putting me through, and it's so, you know, it's just like every part of my life is just kind of stymied by these people, you know. So, and this is sorry, excuse me. It's not fair. It shouldn't be happening like this, you know. But that's the way it all works. That's how people get treated, you know. And if you don't get a good result from it, you know, what do you expect? You know, you can't expect a good result from abusing somebody all the time. So yeah.